This is a two-part video. This is part two, so I really recommend you watch part one first, or you're gonna have no idea what I'm talking about. I'll have the link to part one at the top of the description.
Hopefully the lighting's okay because it's starting to get dark outside. I've literally been filming this for 4 hours. So I don't know how to explain it to you guys other than the fact that he was so manipulative. Like, he was so good at manipulating, so good at gaslighting you, so good at like holding threats over our heads to the point that I almost feel like we were all, including our parents, like brainwashed. Like, so hard to explain if you didn't experience it because it seems so obvious, like, get out of there. But I feel like you have to also understand that this was like our jobs. We were making a lot of money. I think a big reason why a lot of us stayed even whenever things got weird was most of us just wanted to make videos, but I think that was so hard to also give up. And at that point it was like, does the risk outweigh the reward? Like, is it worth it to just deal with this shitty manager to, I don't know, to be in such a good position financially? When the channel went down for obvious reasons, all of our content got taken down, so all of our years of work were taken down. And for all of the girls that were on the channel and had left at that point, me and pretty much all the like quote unquote OG girls, that means we no longer got our residual income from those videos because we were supposed to get any dime that basically came in on our videos, we were supposed to get paid out. And it was a lot of residual income. So that was, a bummer, but at the end of the day, I don't really care because money's not everything, and I would much rather him not have the opportunity to do what he did to another girl. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the threats that he would give us if we didn't talk in the Skype chat. We had a Skype chat. It was like a group chat with all the girls in it and him. And if we were not like talking in it every day, he would send like long paragraphs, novels about how awful we were, how fake we were, and how no sponsors would want to work with a group of girls who can't even seem to talk to each other. This is where things really started to like red flag, red flag, red flag. Like, this man is not, I was even gonna say who he says he is, but like, he was who he says he was. But I look back and I regret not seeing it sooner, and I know my mom looks back and regrets not seeing it sooner as well. But he started to get so controlling. He did not want parents on set. If you know anything about child labor laws and children in the entertainment industry, it is law. It is law that if you have minors on a set filming for whatever the purpose may be, if you are making some form of entertainment and you have minors on the set, it is required by law that the parents are on the set.
I also just want to mention, because I don't think I touched on this, I think he got away with breaking the child labor laws because we were just a YouTube channel, so it wasn't as serious. It wasn't like it was an actual production, quote unquote. Also, when he would come into the US to come on these work trips with us, he would tell the US Customs that he was coming for vacation. So nobody knew that he was here making income. And we found that out after he got arrested.
For a while, everyone's parents were allowed on the set. And then it got to a point that everyone kind of felt more comfortable, and he was getting mad at the parents for being on the set because, like I said earlier, they would get in the background of videos. I don't even know if that was actually the reasons or if he just wanted us alone. My mom fought this tooth and nail, and I think the only reason my mom was allowed to be on the sets is because she was on that parents committee and helping with stuff with the channels and helping plan the trips and helping pick out the sponsored outfits, as I said before, and filming. So he let her for a while be on set all the time. She was there. She was there for me. She was there for all the other girls. It gave the other moms peace of mind because they trusted my mom. They knew my mom at this point. They were all friends, and it made them feel like secure that their daughters would be safe. I honestly kind of felt bad because all the other moms would like go out and do things during the day and go explore wherever we were staying and like go have lunch together. My mom sat there like basically behind the camera watching us all the entire time. I remember in probably 2016 maybe, I went on a beach trip with my parents to Florida, to Destin, and I was so excited. I had like never been to, or I'd barely ever been to the beach, so I was posting all my cute little beach pictures, and I remember I posted a picture of me like jumping in the water like in my swimsuit, which this is like so rich coming from him. It's so ironic considering he had us around in swimsuits like What the fuck do you even mean? I'm like laying on the beach with my mom, and all of a sudden my Skype and her Skype start blowing up. I told this on my TikTok as well. And he is like messaging us, telling us we need to get on a meeting with him right now. What could I have possibly done? Because anytime he messaged you like that, like a pit of anxiety would form in your stomach. Like you knew you were about to get fucking screamed at. We walk up from the beach. We like go all the way back to our beach house and we get dressed and whatever. And we go on this Skype meeting with him. And he proceeds to tell me that I need to take down everything I've posted from the beach in a swimsuit right now. And I said, why? Mind you, keep in mind, I'm 15. Maybe. I don't even know how old I was. 14, 15? Young. He tells me that I cannot be seen on Instagram in a swimsuit because I'm way too skinny and the sponsors will not want to work with me because they don't want to work with someone who looks sick. And that I should not show my body on Instagram because of how my body looks. Okay. And he made me take it down. He made me take down all of my posts, or he threatened me. He threatened me and told me that if I didn't take it down, I would never have an opportunity again and I would lose everything I worked for, which was a common theme. So that was crazy. This is another thing I wanted to touch on, is body image and the comfortability of not only this old man commenting on my body, but the people in the comments and also grown people commenting on my teenage growing body. I understand that some of these comments had come from a place of concern, but the amount of debate on my body online growing up as a child and teenager was actually insane. I'm a very skinny person. I'm well aware of this. Abnormally skinny, I would say. I look very, very thin. I've always looked very, very thin. People used to comment frequently and speculate whether or not I was struggling with an ED, which, like I said, comes from a place of concern, and I completely understand that and appreciate that. However, what I did not appreciate was the comments that I would get saying that I was an ugly skeleton and I looked like a bag of bones. This forum that I remember finding when I was probably 16 of somebody discussing YouTubers that they were worried about having an ED. And I came up on there, and this grown-ass woman, because I can see her profile, grown-ass woman, made an entire, think piece on me and said that we needed to intervene and contact my parents because I look extremely sick and malnourished and like a bag of bones and like I could drop dead at any moment. And that it was hideous. As what she called it. I will put this out here right now, and I would not lie about this. I have never in my life struggled with an ED. And if I was struggling with something like that, commenting on my body is not the way to go about it. Because again, I was a child. I was very tiny growing up, always underweight in my school assessments. My dad is 6'3" and very thin. My mom is 5'7" and very thin. I come by it genetically. But I also have struggled with, I have some chronic illnesses that make it a little bit harder for me to gain weight as well. And I did not know I had those at that point. But that's nobody's business. Like, it is my health is nobody's business. I was in puberty. I had a huge growth spurt. I went from 4'9" to 5'10" within not even 2 years. But I was healthy. My doctor had no concerns about it because I had grown up going to him. He was my pediatric doctor. He had known me since my first ever doctor's visit. You know, if he had concerns, they would have been addressed, but he knew that's just how I was built. And I am still built that way. And everyone's body is different. And like I said, I just think it's not something that we need to be commenting on, especially when someone is, a child or a minor. It's, at the end of the day, someone else's body is not your business, and expressing concern is fine, but you also have to do it tastefully. Things leading up to me leaving that really stand out as weird, horrible things that this man did. One particular trip that I remember being really rough was one of the times that we went to Orlando. For some reason, these trips we frequented Anaheim, California, and Orlando, Florida all the time. I don't know why, but we did. One of these trips, he flew out all of SevenSuperGirls, one of the sister channels as he called them. And we did collaborations with them. So we did a bunch of gymnastics videos. They were in our videos, skits with us. He somehow got I don't know how this even happened, but he got Shawn Johnson, who's an Olympic gymnast, to come. He somehow got her to come to a video with us with Seven Gymnastics Girls and with Seven Supergirls, and it was basically like, for some reason she was like teaching us gymnastics. Obviously none of the Seven Supergirls were gymnasts, like, and so this was like, it was kind of supposed to be funny, but also, you know, see what we could do type of thing. And this was like one of those fun times that we weren't wearing underwear because, you know, why would we be allowed to do that? This is so stupid, but this was the point that I remember him really turning on my mom, because he used to be like good with her. Like I said, he used to like let her come on the set. This is like the turning point. And after this, he actually was so adamant about her not being on set that he made a Google form poll. He sent it channel-wide, every parent, and had them vote whether or not they wanted my mom to be on set or not. And it was like unanimously yes. And he was pissed. Like, that made him like hate her. Like, he was so rude to her after that, so rude to me after that. This is like when everything started to fall apart. For my personal experience and how I was treated on the channel. In this video with Shawn Johnson, she had us doing these different little like gymnastic skills. We were doing like warm-ups, basic skills, and like things that they, I guess, would like teach in a gym. And one of them was, I have no idea what the term for it is, but basically one person stands, you know, you like stand back to back and you guys like link arms, and one person stands there and like folds forward, and the other person is supposed to tuck and roll over their shoulders. I'm pretty sure there's like a term for it. I have no idea what it was. My mom kept like hesitating and being like, is this a good idea? Like, they don't know what they're doing. And the only person teaching us how to do this was Shawn Johnson. And like, there's a bunch of us and one of her. So she's only able to like individually help one duo at a time. And I remember it was Nicole and I, we were like trying to figure out how to do it. And Nicole was like, let's just like send it. Let's try it. I can hear my mom in the background of this being like, this is not a good idea. Like, is this safe? I'm worried someone's going to get hurt. And he was getting so annoyed with her. He was like, everything's fine. Like, she's trained, fighting with her about it. Wouldn't you know, Nicole and I tried it. She bent forward. I had no idea how to, mind you, I couldn't even do a forward roll. So like, this was a little advanced for me. I had no idea how to properly roll myself. So she bent too far forward because she didn't know any better either. And I slid off her back directly on the floor onto my neck, and my neck bent like all weird. And I just remember laying on the floor, like feeling like I couldn't move, and everyone was like, and like freaked out. Everyone stopped what they were doing. I couldn't tell if I was hurt. Like, I think it mostly scared me. I like got up and we like went out into like the hallway of this gym that we were shooting at that was like rented out. He was so rude to me. I was like crying. I was freaking out. It was hurting, but it wasn't like, I knew I didn't like seriously probably injure myself, but in the moment you're thinking, oh my God, what if I like broke my neck or sprained my neck? Or what if I'm gonna like, I don't know, have some like horrible repercussions from this. I'm also a hypochondriac, so I was like freaking out. I was like crying in the hallway with my mom. She was like trying to calm me down. She was like trying to ask if we like should go to like an emergency room and like get it like, you know, looked at or whatever. I was like trying to decide, and then he like comes out. This is the only time he came out. He didn't even ask if I was okay. He was like, are you going to be in the video or not? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to decide if I like need to go to the emergency room. He's like, well, if you go, then you won't be in any of these videos. Like, you'll lose out on the sponsorship money. Like, you will not be in the videos. So you need to make a decision, and like walked away. And so I never went to the doctor. I never went. I was like, well, I can't do this, so I have to just like go be in the videos. And it's funny because if you watch that video back, I just disappear for the rest of the video with like out of trace. Like, you literally, I think Shawn Johnson uploaded a video from it, and you literally see me fall into my neck, and then the video cuts, and then I'm nowhere to be seen for like the rest of the video. And after that, he like really started, he was done with me. Like, I don't know why, but that was like the start of the end for me and my being somewhat liked or tolerated. I don't know that he liked any of us, to be completely honest with you. On that same trip that I got dropped on my neck, I was feeling really sick. I had no idea why. I just felt like really run down. I had the meet and greet that week. I had no idea why I was feeling this way, or I wouldn't have gone if I knew I was sick. I found out when I got home from the trip and I went to the doctor that I had mono. Really rough on me. I remember I was in so much pain. My back was killing me. My body was aching. My neck was still hurt. I couldn't like turn my head because my muscles were so sore. I was like near tears the entire meet and greet. I was so exhausted. I felt terrible. I kept asking like for a break. We were not allowed to take a break the entire meet and greet. One of the worst memories I have of filming. We were filming one of the mermaid videos, and the thing about those mermaid videos is they were like really uncomfortable to film with him there, because not only are we like in a swimsuit, but also when you're in those mermaid tails, like you can't walk. Like there's like a fin that you put over your feet and then you slide the whole like tail thing over the fin, so you're stuck unless you take the whole thing off. Like there's no way for you to walk, and you can't like take it off and then put it back on without taking off the whole entire getup, basically. And so we would like have to like hop around everywhere when we'd be filming, or like slide around, or like try to like I don't know, scoot around where we could like get places, because we couldn't really walk. And this was like super awkward when we were trying to film with him. There was one video that for some reason we were like in, there was like a bowling alley in the mansion we were filming in. This is so first world problem, Jesus. But we were like filming in this mansion that he had rented for videos. We weren't staying there. We never stayed at these places, which I don't know why, because there was like a shit ton of rooms. There was like a bowling alley in the basement, and like all this like stuff in the basement. I remember we were filming down there something for this mermaid video. I don't know why we were inside as mermaids, but that was like the plot of the skit. I was like sitting on the floor, and I was like trying to get up, and I had to like move to like a different room or something, and I was gonna just like shimmy my way over there like we all would. Like we would just like slide on the floor and like hold on to stuff and like move to where we needed to go. And he came over and was like, oh, like, I can like pick you up and carry you over there. I was like, no. I was like, absolutely not. I was like, no, I'm good. He like fucking lifts me up bridal style and like carries me over to the other room. Oh my God. I remember just like having like a pit in my stomach, like chills down my spine. I was like, oh my God, like put me, like do not ever touch me again. I mean, everyone was there. It's not like it was like super weird, but it was really weird because I actively did not want him to be like picking me up, especially like not only because he was weird, but he also like really smelled bad. He really smelled bad. On that same trip, there was also an instance where we had to like get in this pool that was in the water, and like the pool is not heated. The water was freezing cold. Like could not have been over 60 something degrees. Like I know that doesn't sound that cold, but when it's cold water and it's like not very warm outside, it's so cold. Like it was so incredibly cold. Like we were like dying, and we kept telling him like we don't want to get in here, like it's freezing cold. It was like super windy and overcast. It was making it feel even colder than it was. Remember, this is the first time I ever cussed. He made us get in, and I was like shivering. My fingers were turning blue. I get so cold so easily, so I was like dying in there, and we were all like shivering. And I remember him screaming at us because we would like be shivering. He's like, stop shivering, like we need to get the take. And he would just be screaming at us. I remember after that I went in the bathroom and I was like cussing him out like to myself. I was like, fuck this man, I like fucking hate him. So I just remember like going on and on and on and on and on. On that same Orlando trip, we were doing a photo shoot with this photographer. We were doing like a new photo shoot for the little pictures we would autograph that people would get at the meet and greet. And this was like in the height of the no makeup rule. Like he was real serious about it at this point. And I remember we took a group picture. I remember Emily got yelled at this day too for wearing makeup, even though I don't even know that she had makeup on. I just remember him yelling at her too. He pulled me aside after we took the photos, and he was like reviewing them because we had like a photographer there, but he was like looking at them because, you know, everything had to be his way and he had to be in control. And he pulls me aside and he's like, I know what you did. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, I don't know what I did because I literally didn't do anything. And he was insistent that I was wearing lipstick because my lips look super red in the picture. And I was like, no, my lips just look like this. Like I was literally not wearing a stitch of makeup. He made me get a makeup wipe and wipe my entire face to prove to him that I was not wearing any makeup. So, you know, it was that serious. It was that serious. Another thing he would do when we were on those trips and filming is if anybody like laughed or showed any semblance of having fun, he would kick them out of the video. He would literally like be like, you have to go sit in a room and not let them be in the video anymore if they so much as like laughed or made a joke or acted like they weren't taking this super seriously for literally 1 second. And another thing was, we never knew what the videos were going to be about until we were already filming them, and he would feed us our lines off the side of the camera, so none of it was like remotely prepared. So sometimes he would give us the line and we would laugh or something, and he would literally kick us out of the video. And another thing that he would do is if any of the girls like weren't comfortable with something, either showing enough skin was like the big one, or wearing a certain outfit or doing a certain thing, he would make them stay at the hotel for the day and not be in any of the videos. A big thing that a lot of people were really shocked to hear, because I made a video about it on TikTok, is that we had assigned best friends. So the assigned best friends that were actively happening whenever I was on the channel, it wasn't the whole time, but it was like once we started going on a lot of frequent trips, were me and Jenna, and then Mimi and Ellie. The thing that was like really fucked up about these assigned best friendships that we had, was that we were like genuinely all friends. So it was like really stupid that he even did that in the first place, but it was for the sponsors because they wanted distinctive friendships on the channel, which again, I think that was some bullshit lie made by him. He would pair us up in these best friends. I don't know if he did this to Mimi and Ellie, but I remember he told me that, you know, if we didn't appreciate this opportunity, he would take it away and he would break up our best friendship and find whoever didn't piss him off a new best friend, basically. These always piss me off because I felt so guilty. Like, I felt so bad for all the other girls because they didn't get a stupid fucking friendship pairing. I never wanted anyone to feel like excluded, but he wanted us to exclude everybody that was not our best friend. So at first it was like, okay, just in videos, group videos, you guys have to like sit next to each other. You guys have to like always be sitting next to each other. They would like write us lines that were like, oh, me and my best friend, like it would be like very blatant. And I'm honestly surprised that more people weren't aware of it because I feel like it was super obvious. And a lot of people said they did notice because it came out of like nowhere. Like, got to a point that we started to get uncomfortable because he was literally like, it wasn't even him like making us act like best friends. Like, he was making us act like a fucking couple. Like, he was like, okay, now you like sit on her lap and you like, you guys need to like hold hands when you run away and like lean your head on each other's shoulders. And I was like, what even is this? Like, I'm sure some best friends do that, but like it all came out of absolutely nowhere where he was like making us like really prove to the audience that we were like the best friends. And it got to a point that if you were in a best friend duo, you were not allowed to post with anybody else on social media. Meaning us, teenage girls, were not allowed to post any photo with anybody else on our social media. Meaning no friends from like real life, like, you know, not SevenSuperGirls related. We couldn't post anything individual with any of the other girls. It had to either be a group picture or only our quote unquote best friend, because he did not want us to think that we had any other people that could possibly be our best friend, because, you know, there's just like no way in hell that someone has more than one friend or best friend. It got to the point that we weren't, I don't know about the other girls, but me at least, I was like not allowed to post anything on Instagram. He would like ask me to delete stuff all of the time. Anything that he didn't like, anything where I wasn't dressed appropriately for SevenSuperGirls, deleted, super controlled. And this was like my own personal social media. And at this same time, I think around 2016, I knew it was going to be like my last full year. I knew I was going to leave around my 17th birthday. Like, I knew I couldn't do it anymore. And things were just getting really weird. And so I knew at the end of like the year that it was pretty much going to be my last year, because what you guys have to understand is like these rules, I'm telling you them in a list, but they like didn't come about all at the same time. It would like be added slowly. So while it is easy to think, wow, why did you not leave when all these were implemented? It was like a slow like crescendo of them getting weirder and weirder and weirder and weirder. And by the time the no shaving legs, no bras, no personal life rules got implemented, if you look back, which you can't because the channel's gone, but if you were to look back, I think Emily, Jazzy, Catherine, Rachel, Nicole, we all left within like a couple months. Jenna, we all left within a couple months of each other. It was like one after the other, like dominoes falling. Like, we all left because that is when it got weird. That is when it got weird. Mattered at that point. Like, the money, nothing. We need to like keep it up for fans, nothing. Like, it got to a point. At some point during all this, he kicked my mom off the parents committee, so she was no longer allowed to be involved in anything. And that definitely bothered her. Another thing that was going on, that this is one of the other things I really try not to think about because it like makes me feel ill. I know in my heart that like it's not what he said it was. One of the things that he would have us do on every single trip is what he called B-roll pool footage. And he would tell us that our sponsors wanted just like raw, uncut B-roll footage of us in the sponsored swimsuits. It was usually like whatever the swimsuit brand we were sponsored by was at the time. It would be like a bunch of footage of us just like playing in the pool. And he would go outside and we would all be playing in the pool and he would film us. always him for some reason. And he would film us for like 30 minutes, I don't know, give or take. He would like instruct us what to do, have us like go down water slides, whatever it was, do a handstand, like jump in the pool. And it was like for the sponsors to use in their advertisements. I don't think it was. I don't know what he was doing with that footage. It could be anywhere. I've never seen the footage. And that's why I feel in my heart that something was really off about that. And I remember that used to freak all of us out. And near the end, before we all left, we all started kind of putting the pieces together because he would do it every trip. If it was being used in an advertisement or being used for something, we would have seen it somewhere. And we never did. Like when we worked with the FinFun mermaid companies, like we saw our content on their, you know, on their social medias and in advertisements and things like that. And so that makes me feel really icky because I have a feeling it was like going somewhere really bad. The other thing that you have to like think about too is this was so unsafe. Not even just him and that entire thing, but our entire lives were plastered on the internet at a very young age. Like thing about us. People figured out where we lived. I got doxxed at one point and my address got leaked and people would like come to my house. I remember people, like a giant group of people came to my house and were like ringing my doorbell for an hour. And my family and I had all the lights off and we were like hiding in a room because we didn't want them to know that we were home. Not that I don't want to meet people, but like that is like my home. Like I just feel like that's something you don't do. Even if it's someone famous or someone that you like to watch online, like you don't show up at their personal, like that's their like safe space, especially their childhood home. Like I was a child. On top of that, you know, I had like stalkers, people sending things to my house, threatening me, people sending like gifts to my house. It wasn't like young girls that watched me, it was like weird men. I remember one of the biggest things that happened on the channel that it was astonishing that he did not care about. And there was a child, you know, that was basically just like deeply ingrained, like following all the channels. And he somehow found the address of every single girl on every sex channel. And he sent them mail. And the mail entailed, you opened it and there was like photos, you know, manipulated to look. It was like us on like very vulgar imagery. And then the entire letter was, basically him just detailing everything he was going to do, such as our families, and very effed up. I never got a letter and I thought that was super weird because I had a lot of views and my address was very much on the internet. And oddly enough, after I left, I found the letter. It was while we were moving and it got like mixed in with all the mail that came while we were in the process of switching home addresses. And I remember the thing that was so astonishing about that is how little Ian cared. He did not do anything to try to protect us. He was like, super nonchalant about it. Didn't seem remotely worked up about it. Just told us to throw it away. I want to say either the second to last or last trip I ever went on was like the straw that broke the camel's back. This was another trip to Orlando. It was like the bad place at this point. And on this trip, something like super duper exciting happened. We got an offer from Walt Disney World's Best Day Ever, which was like a YouTube program thing that had like YouTubers or celebrities or actors or like whatever, people who had a following come and film them and like go around, like professionally film them, like going around the park and like had all this stuff planned for them. It was like a whole entire little like program that they did. I don't know if it's still going on, but I was so excited when I found this out. I had only been to Disney one time in my life, and that was with SevenSuperGirls on the first ever trip, but it was just like for fun, like for like a little video. We got to go like behind the scenes and see everything. They like gave us special outfits. There was a whole film crew, hair crew, makeup crew, all this stuff. It was like a big deal. I don't know if this was actually a thing, but he basically told us that whoever ended up liking the best was going to get some special deal with Disney to do some other thing. It was not me that got it, so I have no idea if it actually happened, but he claims it did. But he like threw it in our faces the whole time, was like, you better be the best, or like they're not gonna like you and you're not gonna be the one who gets the special, whatever the fuck it was. I remember on this trip, I was having like the worst anxiety of my life. I was like going through a really bad patch with my anxiety where I was like, it was like at an all-time high. I was really anxious about going to Disney. I don't know why. I don't really know why. I was just like going through a really bad period of anxiety and I just wanted my mom there. Like I just wanted her there in case I started having a panic attack. I was dealing with like a lot of like nausea. I was worried about getting like motion sick from the rides or throwing up or having a panic attack or something happening. I don't remember, but I was like in a full-blown panic attack about it. I was like, please, like, you have to come, like, just make sure you can come, to my mom. And she was like, I'll ask him. I don't see why not, because it was voted that she be on set, but he thought this was different for some reason and that she did not need to be there, because when she approached him about it, he immediately said, no, like, you're not going. It's going to be me and that's it. And she was like, why? Like, what is a good reason for that? And he basically said, because I don't want you there. He also told her that Disney was not allowing parents to be on the set, which is hilarious. But we didn't know anything at that time about like child labor laws and how all that worked, and that a parent actually did have to be there. My mom kept pushing the issue. At this point, I'm having a full-blown like hyperventilating, crying panic attack, like really bad. This went on for a couple of days, like back and forth, but I'm just gonna get to like the climax of it. Basically, we had to get up at like 7 in the morning and get on a bus to go to Disney. It was like our transport. The night before was when I was having the all-out like really bad panic attack. And I remember I was laying in bed, I was crying. I was like, I don't want to go. Like, if you can't go tomorrow. I know this sounds so stupid, but like, if any of you have anxiety, like, you know, it doesn't make sense a lot of the times. And I was just like really going through a bad. There was no reason that she couldn't go. And I remember I was in the room crying and they were in the hallway. And she was like talking to him, telling him, you know, she's like struggling right now, like with her mental health. She's struggling with her anxiety. She's not feeling good. All this stuff, like trying to explain the whole thing to him, defend me. He said, no way in hell can she go. And she said, why not? And he like got really close to her face, got up in her face, like spitting in her face. And he said, I don't give a fuck about her anxiety. I don't give a fuck about her mental health. If she can't do this, then she's not fit to be a 7 Supergirl. And if you go tomorrow, I will make sure she never has a single opportunity ever again the rest of the time that you guys are on the channel. I will make sure of it. He promised. He said, I promise you. And I would say that was a promise that was kept, because from then on, he treated me like absolute shit. My mom woke up the next morning and got on the bus with us and came, and he was awful to us all day. They were like taking a bunch of pictures, the Disney people, the production team and all that. They were like taking pictures of all of us. And there was one where he got in it and my mom like was standing off to the side, and they were all like saying, oh, like, Melissa, get in it, get in it. All like the crew members that were like escorting us around, because this was like, by this time they had like talked to her and knew her and everything. And he said, absolutely not. Do not let her in the picture. Like, you get over there and don't you dare get in this picture. And then I remember my mom was in tears. And the thing that is so ironic about this is at some point in the day, my mom was talking to one of the people who was like the production team at Disney, and they said, where are all of the parents? Like, where are they? Why aren't they here? And my mom goes, well, he doesn't like parents to be on the set. He told us that you guys didn't want them. And they said, no, like, we require them. Like, we would not have been able to do this shoot had one of the parents not been here. That entire day was absolutely awful. It was so much fun getting to like see behind the scenes and everything and go on all the rides, and we got like escorted to the front of the lines. Super cool special treatment, but he completely like ruined it. It was so funny because he told us they required no makeup and all of this stuff, and then there was like a team like coming up and touching up our makeup. He screamed at the Disney makeup team and said, do not put makeup on their faces, like they can't have makeup on for the sponsors. There was no sponsor. Like, the sponsor was Disney. Oh my God. They hated him. Like, the Disney people absolutely hated him. And I think one of the funniest parts of that day that I remember, we were mic'd for the Disney thing. Like, we had like a little lapel mic on us. That was like on at all times. We were actively shit talking Ian the entire time. Granted, we were calling him Baggy because, you know, that was our code name. Sure, like if anyone was listening to it, they could have put 2 and 2 together. And I'm like certain that these like Disney sound people heard us shit talking him the whole entire day. I think that was either the last or the second to last trip that I ever went on. The year after that was just awful. He would not give me like any opportunities. He took every opportunity I had away. He demoted me on the channel. He would tell me that I was old news and that my train has left the station and I'm no longer anything special. And he moved me down to like 3rd on the channel, which who gives a shit? I did not, but that was his like, ooh, power trip punishment. Final straw was in the summer of 2017. I posted my goodbye video at the very end of July or like first week of August, I want to say. And I remember filming that was like the best day of my life, because it makes me sad to say that because it started off as something I truly like loved doing and wanted to do. And it ended like so negatively, which really sucks. I just remember being so excited to finally be able to be a normal teenager. Like, I just wanted to cut my hair. I cut all my hair off when I left. I waxed my eyebrows. I shaved my legs. I wore whatever I wanted. I posted whatever I wanted. I finally got to post on my main channel, which we were not allowed to post on at all whatsoever because he did not want us growing our platforms outside of 7Supergirls at all. I was so done. Every time I would have to film, I would put it to the very last minute. I would film Tuesday night and have it up by Wednesday morning. I never missed a video. I filmed rain, shine, like whether or not I was sick. I remember there was a video I filmed while I was violently throwing up with like a stomach flu, like the show must go on. So by the time I left, I was done. Like I had lost any passion that I had for it. Right before I left, I knew I was leaving. I knew that I was going to leave right after my 17th birthday. That was like the whole plan. It was like my birthday present. Iffy. I am not going to name names. I'm not going to say anything. Because at the end of the day, whether or not this like was hurtful, you know, we were all being like manipulated and controlled. I decided, me and some of the girls decided to take a trip. Not a 7Supergirls trip, just a trip by ourselves because we wanted to hang out like normal and be allowed to be normal. And these girls that I went on the trip with were not my best friends, quote unquote. They were not my designated best friends. And I don't know why we even did this because like we ran it by him. Because, well, that was just like something we knew we would get absolutely crucified for if we didn't do. We ran it by him and he was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We were not allowed to go on this trip that was completely unrelated because on the off chance that we get seen together and whoever sees us wonders why we're not with our designated best friend. That was his whole entire reasoning. After like a lot of negotiation and promises made that we wouldn't be seen anywhere, we wouldn't take pictures with anybody. Literally, if a fan came up to us on the trip, we had to say no. If they took a picture, we had to tell them not to post it anywhere. He finally agreed under like all these guises of what we could and couldn't do. He literally said if we saw someone that we thought recognized us, we had to split up so they didn't see us together. He told us we had to like watch everywhere we were going because we're high profile and something could happen to us. He always said that. And he like, when we would be on trips, he would literally tell us that we weren't allowed to walk around the hotel lobby with our mom in case someone recognized us. Like, I'm sorry, do you have like more protection over me than my own mother? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, he's a scrawny, like stinky 5'10" British man. Like, what is he gonna do? Also, what happens when he's not there and I'm at home with my fucking mom? He can't protect me then, and I go places then, so what? It was literally just a control thing. But he was insistent on us not, like, going certain places. It was a whole entire, like, list of things that we weren't allowed to do. But we were okay with it, and we booked the trip, and we stayed in 2 beach houses. Our whole families came on the trip, and I was so excited to finally, like, have a normal trip with some of my friends from the channel, not have to deal with him, like, overseeing everything, even though he was basically overseeing everything from a distance. I'm just going to put this out there. There is 0 record of this on the internet. And I don't have any like outstanding beef with anybody. We were all kids and I don't want this to like sound like I'm shit talking anybody or anything because that's not my intention. I'm also just like not giving you much info. And there's no way for you to find out about this because it was never documented ever anywhere. Like not even a photo. About a few hours into the trip of us all being there, I found out that he had struck a deal with all the other girls that were there for them to all do branded content with a sponsor that was willing to work with them and film these videos together and exclude only me. They were told to go do all these videos without me, leave me out, leave me wherever, just have me not in any of them. And he did not tell me and they did not tell me until we got there. And that really like was not, you know, the greatest thing for our friendship, but it is what it is, and I've moved past it. I don't really care. Like I said, he was like super manipulative, so it was just really easy to be like persuaded by him. I just like didn't even give a shit because I knew I was leaving at that point, and like nothing that he did mattered anymore. Leaving was like really strangely hard, even though I was so ready. It was like, I felt like guilty. I don't know why, but I felt guilty. I think the thing that I didn't realize was how much it like affected me as like a teenager, because when I left, I felt like I was having like an identity crisis. I was like, what do I do now? I mean, you have to think about like it had been the past like 7 years of my life. So it was like really strange to have so much freedom and like creative liberty over everything I was doing. One thing I know a lot of people were wondering is if I like came up with all my own videos. I did. Whenever I was able to do my own thing and have my own schedule and not have to do anything, it was like, it was so weird. And it took me a while to kind of find myself, if that makes sense, after that, because it was so many years of my life and like literally my formative years, like literally like the most, I feel like the years of your life you find yourself most are like your teenage years. Like that's when you're like actually becoming a person. And from the time I was 10 years old, because I auditioned and got on when I was 10 and I turned 11 like immediately after getting on the channels, until I was 17, that is 1 year from legally being an adult, I was on this channel and I was a spectacle on the internet for everyone to see. That's like my whole youth, minus like my childhood. So like it's hard to like find yourself and figure out who you are after that. And it's not that I wasn't myself when I wasn't filming. I was myself, but it was weird getting to publicly express myself and who I was. About, I want to say a year or a little less than after I left SevenSuperGirls, we got the news that Ian had been arrested from one of the trips in, say it with me, Orlando, Florida, the bad place. One of the moms heard about it and texted my mom, and it like spread. It was like morning when I found out. And I remember feeling like sick to my stomach, but like not even a little bit shocked. I like to think I'm a pretty forgiving person. There's few people like I truly hate, and I absolutely hate that man. I don't care anymore. I left in 2017. It's been how many years? Almost 10. 8 years. I was so afraid to make a video about it and like talk about it, because it's almost like I still felt controlled by him. Even when he was in jail, I never wanted to make a video about my experience. And I think part of it is because I wanted so badly to escape from it. Like I was like the Miley Cyrus, Hannah Montana, wanting to like be seen as something different. Like I just wanted it to like go away. And I've realized the longer I'm on the internet, like it's never gonna go away. It's always going to be like where I came from and a part of me, and I'm grateful for it, because it made me into who I am today, and it gave me this platform. And obviously I'm appreciative of that. I'm appreciative of the good memories and the good things that happened and the opportunities that I had in my life that people will probably never have. I worked with Disney, I worked with Nickelodeon, I was flown all over in first class for free for like YouTube brand trips. Like it's such a cool experience, and it's so sad that it was so soured by this like evil, disgusting, predatory old man. It could have been such a fun experience, and the channel could have grown with us instead of staying stagnant and the channel being geared for 12-year-olds, but us all being 16. And the funny thing about that is there was originally an age limit. I think the age limit for being on SevenSuperGirls was 16, and he extended it when I turned 16. Because I remember Catherine had to leave for like a couple weeks. And then he changed it and she came back. So it was just Rachel, but then Catherine just showed back up in her videos. The sad part about him getting arrested is he only served 90 days. And I think he should have had years and years and years to sit in a jail cell and think about everything he did. I just hope nothing good ever happens to him again. And I remember I was so scared to ever talk about him online, because I was so scared that somehow he was going to get me. I just like hope nothing good ever happens to him again. He is truly the worst person I have ever known in my entire life. A lot of people ask if like I'm still friends with the girls. We don't really talk. I'll occasionally talk to them. I don't have any bad blood with any of them. Like I don't have anything but good things to say about pretty much everybody. But I mean, people grow up, people move on. I will occasionally talk to them sometimes, but not super often, or just like all at very different places in our, in our own lives and stuff, and have moved on. And I wish them all the best. I do just want to say one last thing before I say goodbye. Regarding our parents, there's always a lot of comments that are like, where were your parents during all this? Which is a totally reasonable question to have. Back to what I was saying way earlier in this video. You guys know the full story, start to end. You guys know what happened. We did not. And everything I'm telling you in this video is over a span of years. years. Like, yes, it got really bad in a quicker amount of time near the end, which is when we left. There were years of being on this channel where nothing did happen, and we thought we knew this man to some extent, enough to know whether or not he was truly dangerous. And it wasn't until we were going on trips that it became more of a concern, because he couldn't jump through the screen and get us. We were just uploading videos. I can't even like begin to explain to you how manipulative this man was. He did everything in his power to turn us against each other. He did everything in his power to control us. He had all of us so scared of losing everything we had worked so hard for so long, that it was like we were all just like stuck. It felt like there was no out. This was our job, and I think so many of our parents also wanted us to make this money for our futures. It's just not as black and white as it seems. So before you pass judgments, you have to understand that, and I don't think anyone will ever truly understand unless they lived it. It's like not something you can explain, and it's a situation that most people will never have to like go through or be in. There's things that I regret, there's things my mom regrets, there's things I'm sure every other girl can attest to regretting, or their mom regretting, or not seeing things sooner. And the other thing I wanted to say was, if you listen to this or have heard stuff about this and you feel like your childhood is ruined, if it's any consolation, our childhood was kind of fucked too. But we did genuinely like do it because we loved it for a long time. And it really didn't get bad until the end. And if it's any consolation at all, we were just a bunch of girls making videos because we wanted to make videos and we loved it. And hopefully you can take that out of this and know that even through it all, there was like genuinity and there was innocence. Like, none of us had any malicious intent, and none of us were a part of anything bad going on. We just somehow were in an unfortunate situation. And even though it ended sour, it doesn't mean every part of it was bad. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. There definitely probably is, but I'm going to be doing a follow-up video to this of questions that you guys have that I may not have gotten to in this video. I asked you guys on Instagram. I have like a little chat there. If you go on my profile, it's like Kaelyn's Club, and you can join for free and like see messages I send. I'm gonna try to get it up pretty quickly after this one because, well, we gotta keep the theme rolling. I probably will never talk about this again because I want to move on with my life. And obviously, like I said, I'll always be known for it. But if you made it this far, thanks for listening. And for the last time ever, toodles.